Ladies and gentlemen, from the flight deck, this is your captain, the King in the North, speaking. It is my sincerest regret to welcome you aboard U.S. Airways Flight 1549. That's right, the Miracle on the Hudson. Today we will be doing our best to simulate the dual engine failure just after takeoff from LaGuardia in an A320 and see if we can safely land the plane in the Hudson with all 155 people on board, safe and well. Now, I am not a real-world pilot. I don't fly real planes. I just fly fake planes. That being said, I'm going to do my job as best I can as a layman to simulate real-world airplane emergencies and accidents, try and get the plane safely on the ground with a multitude of the wonderful aircraft we have on X-Plane currently. Now, before we get going today, I want to talk about a few things running in my simulator and what I'll be using for today's flight. This is, of course, X-Plane 11. In my opinion, the best simulator out there on the market in terms of flight model, dynamics, just overall performance is wonderful. We will, of course, be flying the A320, this wonderful model done by Flight Factor. Now, I'm a big visuals guy, big systems guy. I think this has probably the best combo of the two in all of X-Plane right now. This is an absolutely wonderful plane. If you're into immersion and really getting involved with the flight, this is going to be the plane for you, and I could not recommend this enough. And unfortunately, the price tag kind of reflects that. So as you can see, we're parked here in LaGuardia. This is the Gb Designs LaGuardia version 2. This is the new airport that will be coming out in 2020, I believe. I should say coming out, finished building. So this is the airport, and as you can see, the stuttering with the city loading in the background by Gb Designs. Both wonderful scenery, heavy on the FPS, but we have a bit of a beefy machine, so I think we'll be able to handle it. So we'll be taking out the Flight Factor A320 today and testing some of the failures. They have not implemented failures in the Flight Factor A320 yet, but we will be doing our best to work with that, and you'll kind of see how I have the workaround built in. We'll discuss that a little bit further during our briefing. Alright, so here we are in the cockpit of the A320. We have our pre-flight complete. You can come down here and see we have everything programmed, ready to go for today's flight. I did put in a full flight plan down to Charlotte. As it was done on the day of the flight, that we are also flying with real-world weather, as you can see, from the day of the flight of Cactus 1549. We are running the same date and time. We have our APU on and available. We're just waiting for pushback, but I just want to go through today's briefing before we get going. Alright, so let's head on down and check out the brief. U.S. Airways 1549 was a scheduled passenger flight from New York's LaGuardia Airport to Charlotte, North Carolina on January 15, 2009, captained by the one and only Chesley B. Sullenberger, a.k.a. Captain Sully, of course, and his first officer, Jeffrey Skiles. At approximately 3:20 p.m., Cactus 1549 took off from LaGuardia's runway 4 and made a left turn departing to the north. At approximately 2,800 feet above the ground, the plane struck a flock of Canadian geese, which were ingested into both engines, causing them to flame out and loss of all thrust. With an emergency declared, Sully immediately turned the plane south, planning to land back at LaGuardia. And as they were troubleshooting, they both realized that there was way too little altitude for them to make it back to either LaGuardia or the surrounding airports, Teterboro or Newark. With that in mind, Sully and Skiles glided the plane down to the west of Manhattan and landed the plane in the Hudson, in what is probably the most successful ditching in all of the history of aviation. All 155 people on board survived, with only 5 people seriously injured, and that was mostly during the evacuation. I did want to briefly go over some of the emergency procedures we're going to be mimicking today. This is pulled straight from the U.S. Airways Quick Reference Handbook, and as you can see, this is the dual engine failure checklist that both Sully and Skiles would have been using. We're going to go down here to the if fuel remaining portion of the checklist. And we're going to do our best to recreate this, although, as you know, I'm a one-man pilot and not a real pilot, so we'll do my best to mimic this. We'll set the engines to idle, engine mode to ignition to turn on the levers, thrust levers to idle. We're going to try and aim for airspeed at 300 knots, but even if you listen to the cockpit voice recorder from Cactus 1549, they noted that that was going to be impossible as well. And then we'll try and make our way down to landing strategy, which of course will be the Hudson for today. The emergency electric power, if the emergency gen does not come online, as I mentioned, the Flight Factor A320 doesn't have emergencies built in, so we're going to find that out as well today. But we'll come up to the overhead and you can see the emergency electric power is going to be up here on this big red button. That's going to be your, to the left of it is the RAM air turbine, which is going to be a little turbine providing my hydraulic power, and the emergency gen. We're going to hit that. So then we're going to come down here. We're going to notify ATC. I'm not going to bother with that, of course. That would be what Skiles is doing, or you, my first officers, can all be taken care of. And then we're going to continue on to the next page, and we're going to turn the flight augmentation computer off, then on. And as you can see, that enables the recovery characteristic from the PFD. Again, no idea if that's going to happen correctly, but we're going to do it. The FAC is up here. We're going to cycle that. It might crash the plane, or it might help us get down. We'll find out together. So then, of course, we'll come down here, continue the checklist. Skiles actually put the APU on, so we're going to try and turn the APU on as well. Again, I don't know if that's necessary, but we'll mimic the plate as best as possible. And then we'll try and relight the engines. But since we're going to be working with a aircraft that's has failures in an iffy state, I might not play too much with that in case it actually does relight them. And then, of course, if engine restart is considered impossible, we're going to do our green dot speed. You can hear Sully referring to that quite a bit when he's talking about the level flight into the Hudson. We're going to try and see if Flight Factor will do that as well. And then the final page will come down here. If forced landing is anticipated, if ditching is anticipated, we'll configure our flats for landing. We'll have our landing gear up. We'll give the brace. And then once we're in the Hudson, we'll turn the master off, the APU off, and start the evacuation. So, we'll do our best today, folks. Hope we all survive. Best of wishes to us all. Let's go ahead and taxi on out, shall we?
Operation complete. That's parking range.
Alright, we're pulling up to runway 4 now. We'll go ahead and let the passengers know that we are number 1 for takeoff. Flight attendants, please proceed for departure. Alright, we are number 1 for takeoff and ready to go. We got our lights set. Takeoff config normal. We're going to be making a left turn to heading 360 immediately after takeoff as per ATC instructions. We'll go ahead and set that chronometer on and let's go ahead and get going. Get those throttles up to about 40%. stable, and we'll go ahead and go to flex 30. Engine's normal. 80 knots. V1, rotate. Positive rate. Gear coming up. Beautiful, look at that. Can't beat that view. At 1,000 feet, we'll make our left turn to heading 00. Actually, I think I need to click that in. Whoops. There we go. Get the throttles down to the climb position. Wonderful. Looking good so far. Go ahead down here and start to accelerate on our way up. Let's go ahead and get our lights off over here. We'll get our flaps up, please, per Sully's commands. Flaps 1. And flaps clean. He turns to the left and says, beautiful view of the Hudson today. And there goes engine number 1. And there goes engine number 2. Okay, everyone, dual engine failure over the Hudson. And we've lost all power, so let's go ahead and go through our checklist. Oop, there's my trim wheel going crazy. We got to trim up. That's one of the things the flight factor looks like they haven't built the failures in correctly. All right, we're going to go up here, and remember, we're going to get our emergency gen on. Woo! Stay safe, everyone. We got to turn this plane to the left. Let's get over here. Whew, this is dangerous. Get those engine modes down, throttles down. Slowly turning our way back. I am having trouble controlling this baby. We are flying in without alpha mode engaged, so no flight augmentation computer help here. As soon as we make our left turn back down towards the Hudson, I will reset the flight augmentation computer and see if we can help. There's the George Washington Bridge straight ahead. We're going to have trouble hitting that. Let's go ahead and FAC reset. FAC reset on. We got to get our APU on. Oh boy. I am struggling to keep it safe. Flight augmentation computer reset on. APU gen needs to come on. Arms are going right over the GW bridge. There's the stutters, which aren't helping. Oh boy. We gotta get those flaps out. I completely forgot to look at the green dot speed. Oh man. Got everything going. Systems on here. I don't even know if I have engines. We just gotta try and get her down. Flaps 1, please. Flaps 1 set. I don't even know if it came out. I have no green dot speed. You can see the city straight ahead. We're gonna go flaps 2. That's per Sully's recommendation. He's smarter than I am. I'm trimming the plane as best I can. I'm gonna try and get in. It looks like we're 500 feet above ground level right now. I can't rely on that. I have no idea how high I am. We're coming in tight. Everything's beeping at me. We just gotta get her down safe at the moment. Here we are. I'm trimming as much as I can. We're getting close to our green dot speed. I'm out of trim. We're gonna come down hard. Brace positions, ladies and gentlemen. Brace, brace, brace. Master alarm. There we are. We're down in the Hudson. There we go. keeps resetting, but we are down. We made it into the Hudson without the plane completely crashing and falling apart. We have done it. Ladies and gentlemen, we somehow pulled it off. We were able to recreate the miracle on the Hudson. It wasn't the cleanest, it wasn't the most correct, but we are safely down. All 155 souls on board are safe. I want to thank you all for flying with me today. Remember, please direct all complaints about today's flight directly to customer service to receive your flight refunds and complimentary meal vouchers. Please comment below if you have a flight you'd like to see me recreate in the future. I will try my best to get us all down safely. Once again, thank you for joining me today on US Airways Flight 1549, the Miracle on the Hudson. Once again, I'm your captain, the King in the North. We'll see you next time in the safe and friendly skies.